The Quebec Nordiques had high hopes for this goalie. 6'3", 180 83 pounds, one of the biggest goalies in Quebec Nordique history. Great OHL career with some impressive numbers, and became what he called an amateur project that turned to a pro player, but only had better success when he played minor pro, despite 2 cups of water with the Nordiques, while still playing major junior. Today we're talking about the curious case and the many lives of the very talented, but again, the Nordiques, high prospect between the pipes that didn't pan out, but still talented, John Tanner. Now, John Tanner, born in Cambridge, Ontario, first came to major prominence again with the Peterborough Petes, that great franchise in the OHL. He played 26 games with the Petes in '88 with a 3.49 average, and '89 was his breakthrough year. His great results for the Petes that season allowed him to be drafted in the 3rd round, 54 overall. 22-10 record with a 3.34 average. He played 8 games in the playoffs. Now, 1990 was a weird campaign. He played 18 games with the Petes, then 19 games with the London Knights, where he had a 12-5-1 record. And now he had enough time to play 1 game with the Nordiques in 1990. He only gave up 3 goals in his first game, but lost the decision. Now, in 91, he split time with the London Knights and the Sudbury Wolves with a 13-11-1 record. Now, he was called up back to the Nordiques, and in 6 games, he had a 1-3-1 record with 16 goals against in 220 minutes played. Now, 92, he was sent for seasoning to New Haven of the AHL and the Halifax Citadels, and that's where I covered him at the Campbellton exhibition game for the AHL. 28 games in the AHL that year, 13-11-3 with a 3.2 goals against average. He also played 14 games on the Nordiques that year. The rough season for Quebec, of course, almost lost 50 games that year. 1-7-1 with a 3.47 average. So the goals against average was not too bad. But like I said, in 93, he became the number 1 goalie in Halifax. And he had a 20-18-7 record. But he couldn't break into the Nordiques cage, especially in 93, because Hextall took over as the number 1 goalie, and so there was no room for him in Quebec. 94, he split time with the Cornwall Aces and the San Diego Gulls of the IHL. Cornwall, of course, AHL. 51 games that year, 19-18-6. Back to San Diego, the IHL, 8 games. Then he played 6 games in Greensboro of the ECHL in 95. Now, 96, he played for 2 teams in the COHL, and also with back with the AHL's Rochester Americans in 96. 97, last minor pro season with the Wheeling Nailers of the ECHL, 7-10-1 record. So, again, he played with 3 OHL teams, played with Quebec in the AHL, New Haven, Halifax, Cornwall, San Diego, Greensboro, Detroit, Muskegon, Rochester, and Wheeling. So he was in-demand goalie, playing all those teams. He put up decent numbers. Like I said, the goals against average went up in the IHL and the ECHL, but like that was wide open. But I still look at the potential of that season with Halifax in 93. If the Quebec cage wasn't so busy, Ron Tugnuck and different people were around too as well, he probably would have got a chance. I think Quebec should have traded him another team to give him a better chance, but it never really worked out for him, but that happens. But he 3 seasons in the NHL, final totals, 21 games played, 2-11-5 record with 3.60 average. And he was what do you call the 88th percentile save percentage, which is very common for minor league players. If you have somebody at 88 to 90%, that's a good prospect to keep around. And I know for a fact, ladies and gentlemen, a lot of people saw that 1989 season as probably, and he was mostly a backup that year with kind of shared duties. 22-10 in the OHL back then, especially with Peterborough. Now, just to inform you a little bit about that 89 team, that was Mike Ricci, which eventually became a Nordique player. And the other player that was on the team with the Petes, Todd Boshigan, was not too bad of a player. Him and our big player had a battle going on, and he was drafted as well. It's not very often two major starters for a team get both drafted in the NHL, especially. But this Dick Todd team, like I said, it was very talented. And Mike Ricci was a 16-year-old. He was pretty well an underage player, 106 points that year. So, some good Nordique prospects on that. So, I met, like I said, Tanner at that AHL game and in Campbellton. I covered for the Lousy News. I saw him to be a very well-liked player with his teammates. Seemed very jovial. But like I said, Halifax was loaded with talent, and we talk about that '93 team where he took most of the load, and I always like to refer to this when I can. Yet Stéphane Fiset was back for a few games. Patrick Lebrec as well. Patrick Lebrec was a very talented player, but that year again, the cage was busy, ladies and gentlemen. So I mean, but what's interesting about Lebrec, he played a couple of games in the Montreal Canadiens. He had a pretty good talent. So, and he's played pretty well close to 2 decades in major and minor pro. So very talented people he played with through the years. So ladies and gentlemen, we're doing here, give us a like, comment, or subscribe. And we're trying to maybe do some Forgotten Nordiques and upcoming podcasts. So if you have any requests, let us know. Have a good day. Bye.